All right, I'm going to try this again. We've got a thunderstorm going on here in Charlotte. I have got an incredible guest coming to speak with you guys today. She is going to be one of our keynote speakers at our live event. Here she is. Let me see if I can have her jump on. Let's see. There she is. When all else fails, try again, right?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's do this again, Rebecca. You guys, I've got an incredible visibility, credibility expert here in the house. As I was saying earlier, what I want to say really quickly is that Rebecca is like a sister from another mother. If you're listening and you're looking for the opportunity to get visibility, become an authority without paying a fortune for a PR agency or for ads, like Rebecca is your go-to girl. Obviously, she and I run in parallel worlds of teaching people how to grow and scale businesses through their credibility and visibility and not being so focused on paying an agency or an ad company, right? And Rebecca, I'm so excited to have you here today because I know you're going to be one of our keynote speakers at our Burnout to All Out live event, September 30th, October 1st. I wanted to bring you in here today because I think people can learn so much from you. And I know you've got some goodness happening next week that people are going to want to hear about. I know that you teach people really how to transform their brand into a highly visible industry authority, right? In the online space. So I was hoping today we could do a little dive into that. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Right. A bit of background, my degree's in journalism. I worked as a reporter at a daily paper. This is a long time ago, 20 years ago. And then I left the world of journalism and went into sales and marketing. But what is so valuable about that is, I've always been a storyteller. I've always loved messaging. And then going into sales and marketing, I started to understand why that visibility is so important. But I was working for a Fortune 1000 and a Fortune 500 where we spent millions of dollars a year, literally, on sales and marketing, right? On getting ourselves in front of people. And when I became an entrepreneur, I said, wow, I don't have that budget. And how do I explain my credibility? How do I, show up as authority in my space? How do I get the visibility of new eyes on me? And which I think is something that so many entrepreneurs are facing. And the answer of PR came to me very quickly, but I didn't have the typical budget that most PR companies require of, $5,000 a month. And the interesting thing about PR, and I don't want to say PR companies are bad, but you're not paying for results. You're paying for their service, but there's no guarantee of results. And I just said, that just doesn't seem right to me. So I went back to my old journalism days, and I remembered as a reporter frequently getting pitched to by PR companies, getting press releases, all of that. And I basically started to reverse engineer the system of PR, but really with the intention of results in mind. And I think you and I are very similar that everything is about results. We're we don't just want to do things that look nice. We want the results. And we're also both about really removing the gatekeepers. So putting the power of developing that influence and also ultimately the impact and income into the hands of entrepreneurs because you can do it, right? And the people that tell you need the ads, ads are a tool like social media. They're not the only tool, or that you need the PR, again, a tool, not the only tool, or frankly, they're trying to make money off you. So there are ways to do it that you don't need that. Unless you are so busy and you've got such an incredible scaling business, then that is time to pay someone else to do it for you. So basically over the last 4 or 5 years, as I started to dive into PR, I started to get it on my own. And that very first year, I had more than 20 national press mentions, a dozen plus podcasts. And what that did is a few things. One, it developed a lot of credibility, right? It translated the credibility I had for my job. It really didn't translate into something that was tangible then. The second part is the visibility of getting new eyes on me, right? Getting new eyes on you is the lifeblood of your business. It doesn't matter how amazing you are at retention. I mean, retention is very important, but acquisition is also just as important. And you've got to, especially if you want to scale, you've got to be bringing a new lifeblood into your business and the right lifeblood. So I know you and I love to talk about don't rely on IG Reels or TikTok to go viral, right? You want to have something that is not based on an algorithm, something that you can do that is intentional and that you can get the results. So I started teaching clients, and what I found is my clients were getting the exact same results. But basically, I just want to break it down. That PR is not just about a connection. It's not about knowing the right people. It's not about paying to play, right? I love showing how to do it on your own. What PR really is about crystallizing your message And then understanding, there's a few different things. And actually, I'll go through 3 different secrets. I'm going to talk more about these next week I'm going to do a free training called Becoming Pressworthy. But the number 1 secret is how to book big media features. So we're talking Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, Reader's Digest, Women's Health, Birdie, all these major publications that can get you seen potentially by millions of your ideal client. Now, that does not mean you're going to get millions of people DMing you, but it means that you're going to have a huge reach. And so those are potential clients and customers without the connections, without a sales funnel, without paying for ads. It's really possible. Most people don't understand that they can do that, and it doesn't have to be hard. The second thing that I'd love to share is that most people think that, again, you have to have a connection to get in front of journalists, but the reality is the media is a machine, and journalists and podcasters and publishers are actually starved. They're always looking for new content, and you can get national press by helping them feed that machine, even if no one's ever heard of you. And I'll give an example here. I had a client who was still at her job. She had an idea of a business she wanted to launch, and this is a question I get often is, well, do I need 10 years in business? Do I need to already be hyper credible before I go out and put myself out there and try to get PR? And absolutely not. You need to be clear on what your genius is or your niche. You need to have some really interesting opinions, and ideally, don't be vanilla is the big thing. But she went out there and started pitching herself. She didn't even have a website, and she got 11 national press features in the first 60 days. And when I say what, I didn't do it for her, right? I taught her how to do a really effective pitch. I taught her how to follow up. I taught her how to really communicate herself in a way that is really attractive and to be prepared, because journalists are underpaid and overworked. And that was all from that. And then the third secret is really that you don't need to recreate the wheel. And so I have a pitch template that I'd love to just give away that's still in the business, that's customizable, that is going to help you get seen. And I've had that pitch template has been used by my 100+ clients in the last year to get more than, got to do the math here, but more than 700 features.
Wow, that's incredible.
Some of them got 30, 40 features themselves. And by the way, they're not doing PR full time. They're doing it an hour or 2 a week, which if you think of significantly less time than you're spending on social media in a way that develops massive credibility and massive visibility. And of course, when you have both of those, that's where the profitability comes from.
Oh my gosh, so good. It's so good. And I can say, from the reverse side, as someone who's choosing and selecting maybe who I want to bring in as a podcast guest, right? When I get pitched, it's funny because we get pitched all the time. I gravitate towards the ones who have the as seen as, right? They have these credible, like for no other reason, because so many come through email. It's like, well, wait, this one looks more credible because they've been featured in XYZ, right?
That's the third party credibility. It's that it's kind of triangle of trust when a platform like, well, first of all, another podcaster. If you have someone that pitches you and they've been on a huge podcast like Lori Hardy's podcast or Chris Harder, we're both in their mastermind, or they've been featured in Entrepreneur or Inc., you are going to be less likely to do a lot of research because you already trust that platform, and that platform has edified them as an expert. So yes. And this is what I tell people. Getting published doesn't make you better at what you do. That's the reality, right? It doesn't make you more talented. Now, it does give you monster belief and confidence, which might help you show up better for your clients and your prospective clients. But what it does is it helps you stand out. And think about it for everyone. If you're going to go hire a personal trainer because you want to get in better shape, and you go out there and you Google it, let's say, or you get 2 referrals, and you look at their websites, and they do basically the same thing. They're like, we're going to come to your home, we're going to get you in shape, we're going to maybe give you a meal plan. But one of them has been featured in Mind Body Green, Women's Health, Shape Magazine. She's named, one of the top trainers to look for. You're going to be much more likely to hire her than the other trainer who might have the exact same credentials from a skill standpoint and actually may be less expensive. So it will often be that deciding force between someone selecting you or not, and also them being willing to pay the rates of you actually being paid as an expert.
Yeah, so good. Such good nuggets. And it's so true. So good. So you guys, if you're loving this, 2 things, right? So you can, all the way out in late September, early October, you guys can fly out to the Burnout to All Out live event where we're going to have amazing speakers like Rebecca on stage for an hour, pouring into you, workshopping with you, helping you grow and scale your businesses. But prior to that, Rebecca actually has an awesome, it's a free workshop next week, right?
Next week, I'm like, what is the date? It's next week, on 29th, Wednesday, from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., 1 hour. And what we're going to be going over, we'll dive in a little bit more into what we've been talking about now. We're going to be diving into the 3 major barriers that right now are probably keeping you from incorporating powerful and profitable PR in your business, and then how to leverage the expertise you already have. You don't need to go out and get another education, another degree. You can leverage the expertise you already have to get press features in publications. And then we're going to talk about which PR opportunities actually grow your business, because it's not what you think. And I like to talk about the ability ladder, going from starting basic online presence all the way up to national TV interviews, and podcasting and guest spotting and things in between, as well as speaking, and which ones develop credibility, which ones to actually develop visibility, and which ones are highly profitable. Because I can tell you, I'll say it here, I'll save it for the training, but I can tie over $200,000 of my income last year specifically to 5 different appearances in the press and podcast world. 200,005. So think about it. If you could do something, not even a masterclass or anything, right? Not a full training, if you could show up on someone else's platform and monetize that for 5 to multiple 5 figures, would you do that instead of spending time maybe on TikTok?
Yes, absolutely. It's why I'm actually in Rebecca's mastermind right now. And we're working on us getting more visible and learning all of her tips and tricks. So excited. So good. Rebecca, where can folks find you or get signed up for this?
So I'll drop a link in the comments. I'll also put it in my profile. Or you can go to RebeccaCafiero.com. That's CAFIERO /become pressworthy. PRESSWORTHY. So RebeccaCafiero.com /become pressworthy. And that will give you all the details to register for our training next week so you don't miss it.
Yay! So good. We'll make sure we have it in the notes over here. And, and as a cherry on top of all of that, you guys, if you're curious about the profound business breakthroughs that we're putting together to support you in our live experience at the Burnout to All Out live event, where incredible speakers like Rebecca are going to be, totally just DM me live, just put in the word live, or you can check out up in the bio of our program. So Rebecca, thank you so much for jumping in here today. I'm headed out to Northern California next week, and she's going to teach me how to publish my first book on the LinkedIn method, because she's such a badass. She just blazes trails and goes before us and shows us how to do these things. So Rebecca, so excited to see you next week.
I can't wait to see everyone in October at Burnout to All Out.
What's that?
I said I can't wait to see everyone at Burnout to All Out, September, October.
Yes, it's going to be so much fun. So either way, you guys can get in front of Rebecca next week in her workshop. You can come out to our live event later this year if you want to hug and squeeze and have some breakthroughs with a lot of people. You could do both, right? So with that, we'll wrap up. I know you're in the middle of writing a course today, so thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye, everyone.
All right, bye-bye.